What is up, guys? How are we all doing?
Yay. Yay.
Welcome to the Jedi In Exile podcast with your hosts, me, it's Tats, and my very good friend, the Norfolk Lion.
Merry Christmas, Matthew.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, mate. Merry Christmas. I hope that Santa was good to you. I don't really know what the Santa. I don't know what the Santa equivalent in the Star Wars universe is. I probably should have done some research, eh?
George Lucas.
George Lucas.
Now it's Dave. It's Dave Filoni, because what better Christmas present could Dave have delivered than a new Star Wars show? And
You know
that's
it.
all what tonight's show's about.
You
Of
know
course,
it.
first episode of the Book of Boba Fett came out today. Came out, I think it was midnight this morning. I watched it about mid-morning. Um, First of all, really enjoyed it, so we're going to have a quick chat about it. If you're watching this live, there will be spoilers. We're not going to go over really too much of what happened, but naturally, because we're talking about the episode, there will be spoilers. If you're watching on YouTube, hopefully you've watched the episode. Subscribe to us. We'll be doing a weekly show every Wednesday after the new episode has come out. We'll be talking about it. You'll be able to catch it on YouTube, catch it on Twitch, all the places that we upload it to.
Yep.
Follow our Instagram, Twitter, everything. I'm going to just plug that straight away at the front of the episode.
Merry Christmas. Here's a plug.
Merry Chrysler.
So yeah, as Brian said, we are going to be chatting all things the Book of Boba Fett. A little bit of first impressions of chapter 1, what we're hoping to see a little bit. So as he said, there probably will be some spoilers. But let's kick it off. So for those that don't know what the Book of Boba Fett is, why you're here, for a starter. But basically, what we have is
First of all, please stay.
yeah, please stay. But what we've got is basically a spin-off TV show from The Mandalorian.
A spin-off of a spin-off.
Yeah, you love to see it. So if you've not seen The Mandalorian, go watch it. But season 2, we are reintroduced to a long-standing character from the franchise, Big Boba Fett. Here he is in all his glory, with Mando himself and Fennec Shand, played by Ming-Na Wen. So we get Tamira Morrison back as I guess the first time we see him as Boba Fett, because obviously we've only ever seen him as Jango Fett or the clones.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's where this is all stemmed from. It's a little spin-off, and we foresee the series from all of the stuff that we've seen in the promos, and from episode 1, it's primarily going to follow Boba and Fennec as they try to, I guess, fill the power vacuum that's been left by the downfall of Jabba. Yeah.
And Bib Fortuna, his Twi'leki, Mijana no Wanga.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, I mean, it's set. Mandalorian is set 5 years after Return of the Jedi, so this must be set like around that time. But the episode kind of starts with flashbacks of how Boba has got to where he is. So I quite like that they've done that. You see him in the Sarlaac pit. I have to say, my first impression after watching the episode, and I think The Mandalorian did this really well, is that it feels like old school Star Wars. The Mandalorian, apart from a few special effects, The Mandalorian and the first episode of Book of Boba Fett, they feel like they could have been filmed in the 80s when Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi were filmed. The prequel trilogy, I love the prequels, don't get me wrong, I was raised on them, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. They're a spectacle because of the technology advancement from the 80s, from when Return of the Jedi, Empire, and obviously New Hope was 77. So many technological advancements that the special effects and the CGI were unreal. I feel like these have gone back to old school Star Wars, where even though they're filmed, 40 years after the originals, they've got that old school feel about them. And you can clearly like Tatooine, everything comes back, and I just love. I just loved the feeling of it. I thought it was actually a really good episode, and I'm a really critical person. I felt like the Mandalorian series started really slowly, but this actually I thought was a good start. It's yeah, I like.
So I will pick up on what you said about it feeling like it's back old school Star Wars. So um, I, I completely agree with you. I think that we kind of a lot of this stuff could have been filmed in the 80s. There's probably a handful of things that I could count on one hand. I reckon that used proper or were blatant that they were CGI. Things like, and you're gonna have to forgive me because I'm gonna say like the alien dog thing that the Tusken Raiders had. I don't know what it's called.
Great that Tusken Raiders are back though, because I feel like Tusken Raiders are maybe going to feature in Kenobi as well. I feel like we're really bringing the Tusken Raider back.
Well, I feel like it's obviously set on Tatooine, right? And what I think people forget about Tatooine is that the majority of the planet is desert. There is just nothing. So the Tusken Raiders are absolutely rife. So it's pretty fitting that they're here. But yeah, there was a handful of scenes that you could kind of be like, oh yeah, CGI, CGI. But a lot of it was just, you know, we got a parkour scene, which, you know, I don't know how many times we've seen a parkour scene in Star Wars, but I loved it. I'm not gonna lie. We got kind of some old school hand to hand combat fight scenes, but again, no lightsabers, nothing kind of crazy. Which
Feels
was
like an old western.
yeah, which essentially was what the Mandalorian was, right? So the Mandalorian is essentially a
Like
western
gunslinger,
set in
yeah.
space. That's what the Mandalorian is. I feel like this is very much going to be the same sort of feel. It's Jon Favreau again with Dave Filoni,
Yeah.
so it's going to be pretty similar.
Dream team.
But the other thing that I think makes it,
We trust.
I think the thing that makes it feel really like nostalgic for me is but Boba Fett in Legends universe, Boba Fett escaped the Sarlaac pit. That is something that happened. He is a long-standing character, and he runs on long past and has quite a lot of involvement in the whole kind of what the extended Skywalker saga, as I'm going to call it, which is kind of way out into the future. And so for me, it was really nice that they've done that. They've honoured that and brought him back, obviously through The Mandalorian and then into this. And they kind of, I thought they might just skip over everything, if I'm honest. I thought they might just skip over the whole, like, oh, well, we've established he's back because you've seen him in The Mandalorian. We don't need to tell you how, but, like, he's back. And actually...
Yeah, just doing that classic, like, somehow Palpatine returned.
Exactly. And actually, first episode is pretty heavily into flashbacks, what happened, all that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure that in the Legends canon, he used thermal detonators to essentially explode his way out gradually. And in this, he obviously uses flamethrower. So kind of similar parallels, which was quite nice to see that it's people who and. Like I'm not saying I'm up Dave Filoni's ass, but we love the guy. But you know he knows his stuff. I think it's pretty obvious that he's somebody who's grown up reading Legends, Legends fiction as well.
He appreciates that Star Wars universe was expanded, like not by Disney, that it was done, you know, by several different authors, Timothy Zahn, Drew Karpyshyn. You know, the list could go on and on and on of who writes this stuff, and they came up with some pretty good storylines. So although you can't just copy them directly, like you can take kind of ideas from them. And listen, Boba Fett is a good character for them to have. He's, you know, got the hate relationship with the Jedi, so he's not all good. He's a bounty hunter. So, you know, you think what he did before the prequels came out, he was pretty much a hated character because of what he did to Han. Obviously, basically is the reason why he ends up in Carbonite, taken to Jabba's palace for a couple of years. Like, it's he's not a good guy, but we have just found out more. We know that he's had a troubled past because of losing Django, his like dad. Um,
Can we just,
because
on
of
that point, can we just establish, so for anybody that's seen, like, Clone Wars and any of the kind of other mediums that are out there that are now canon, how the does this whiny little kid who's rubbish, like, at shooting and is just a little bit of a loser, if I'm honest, he pretty much gets bullied by everybody that
on
deals with him.
Reese.
Yeah. So in Clone Wars, it's even worse. Like, he's just this absolute little brat. How does he go from that to this? Because, like, don't know.
Oh, I feel like we really know Boba Fett, but we don't. It's just because I've watched Clone Wars and you've seen the clones that are just. And I think of the actor of Tamori, whatever his face is.
Tamara
Like,
Morrison.
that's who I Tamori Morrison. I knew it was a supermarket. I was thinking it's not Tesco. I feel like we've had more of him, but we haven't. And doesn't he play the dad in Moana, which is a pretty cool film?
Is that what you're hoping for? Moana Star Wars crossover?
What Disney need to get on that?
Star
Kathleen
Wars
Kennedy.
Star Wars special.
Let's get this.
Get Dwayne the Rock Johnson in there. Get him in there. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Get them all done.
Class.
One thing that I want to address while we're on musicals, this is actually a perfect segue and not planned at all. While we're on the subject of like music and musicals, amazing to see the return of what I can only assume, unconfirmed, but what I can only assume is the Max Rebo band from Jabba's Palace in the casino that they go into.
See the blue elephant trunk, and I was like, woo, 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 woo.
Honestly, unreal. That is, for anybody that spotted it, well done, because I'm pretty sure that must be who that is. But absolutely unreal. You got the little Biff man playing his like Star Wars guitar. Unreal.
The long nose.
The singer.
Yeah.
The frog-looking singer.
My wife was telling me off earlier because I was watching this episode. And I randomly started singing it. She was like, "Honestly, you tell our son off for making random annoying noises." And I was like, "It's a song." She's like, "Yeah, but it doesn't go like that, does it?" I was like, "Yes, it does. It's from Star Wars."
It does. That was the best thing about playing Mos Eisley on the old Star Wars Battlefront, was that you just heard that like pretty much on repeat.
Yeah, I love it.
But we are digressing. So we get to see a bunch of flashbacks. Amazing. We get to see a little scene of the Jawas stripping off his armor.
His armor, which is obviously where in Mandalorian we see the Jawas.
So
the armor.
Yeah. So
explaining that
in chronological order, we next don't see that armor until big Cobb Vanth. From The Mandalorian, played by the guy's name escapes me, Timothy. Can't think of his name. But there on the left. So that's the next time we see it. So it's nice to see that kind of. Again, there's these little kind of little hooks, little segues. That kind of just tee it up, and we don't need any more information than that, right? Like we've seen it happen in The Mandalorian. Don't need any more. Just he's lost his armor. Done. Explained. Happy days. So that's pretty sick, to be honest. Pretty cool to see. So we kind of end the episode on a little bit of a cliffhanger, which is that Boba and Fennec were, I guess, ambushed. We got to see the big hulking Gamorrean guards help them fight off the attackers.
Again, another nod to like the original trilogy. I love it. Two Gamorrean guards that they said that they were so loyal to Jabba and then loyal to Bib Fortuna that they were then arrested and wouldn't like serve anybody else. So the whole episode and what the series is going to encounter, and you see it on the trailer where he's like, Jabba ruled by fear, I want to rule by respect. Boba Fett is going around to all these different, I suppose, business associates that Jabba had, and he's basically saying like, "I'm your man," like kind of a big mafia boss. Now he wants to replace Jabba, keep the Empire intact, Jabba's empire, and so he goes into this casino, which is where we see the Max Rebo band. He's given a helmet. He gives his helmet away as like courtesy, almost like a butler comes over, takes the helmet, returns it with a load of coins in. So already he's got the respect. People are, thinking of him as Jabba's replacement. But then, like Matt says, him and Finnick are then ambushed by six guys with um, big old shields, like we see in Episode One that all the Gungans have,
Yeah.
like plasma shields, and then with weapons that they look down and out. But then the Gamorrean guards come up and start battering away these blokes. That we then, as Matt says, see the episode end on a cliffhanger. That Finnick is trying to capture one of them alive. She's been told by Boba. Boba's seriously injured, and the Gamorrean guards have had to drag him back to, I suppose, Jabba's palace.
Yeah, to the
onto,
back to the Bacta tank.
to a Bacta tank, which is where he kind of starts the episode in the Bacta tank, and he finishes the episode in the Bacta tank. So it's a nice little.
I feel like this is going to be an ongoing theme. It's kind of showing this whole like, I feel like we're seeing two sides of the same coin with Din Djarin, and Boba Fett. In that, in the Mandalorian, if I had a criticism, potentially it was that as soon as he had his Beskar armor, it was very kind of he was pretty much invincible. Like, you don't ever really see him kind of in pain, hurt. Like, he gets shot and it all just kind of bounces off and all of that kind of stuff. I think you see a very different side of Boba. And obviously he's old by this stage. He's old. He's been through the absolute ringer, which you see with like all the Sarlaac stuff, then all of the issues that he has kind of with the Tusken Raiders before he gains their respect and moves on.
His skin is absolutely fucked, probably from being in the Tatooine sun.
So you kind of see all of... Yeah, you see all of this stuff, and I feel like this is potentially going to be the story of this one. It's not this kind of big, strong character who's just going to go charging into everything and go crazy. It's somebody that's going to have to take kind of a tactical approach to things and come at things where he's not going to go all guns blazing, which I think has been shown by the way that he's handled situations. Fennec's obviously being a little bit, I guess, like critical of the fact that he's not tried to rule by fear, and I think he knows that that's not going to be successful for him. The way that he has, like in the situation that he's in, he's got him, he's got her, and then he's got two Gamorrean guards, and that's pretty much all he's got. Like, he's not got an empire to fall back on. Because he's in the process of rebuilding it, essentially. So for me, it's very kind of... I think we're going to get something a little bit different to The Mandalorian, which I'm glad that they've not just gone carbon copy and gone action, throw it down their throats.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering which maybe other characters from the past we're going to have in this series, whether there's going to be any, like, I suppose, Easter eggs or just anybody we recognise, because that seems to be something that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are really good at, is that kind of nod and wink to classic Star Wars fans who have maybe seen everything, seen all the Clone Wars, seen Rebels, like seen all these different bits and pieces, and maybe they're going to tease us with little kind of cameos. But no, I really like the episode, and I'm looking forward to the rest of them. I can't believe we have to wait for one a week, though. What a joke.
I'm also really upset that it's been tradition with a lot of these things, a lot of the Disney Plus series, to do a double length episode, either double length or release episode 1 and episode 2.
I did expect maybe episode 1 and 2 to be released, yeah.
So a little bit upset, and it's quite short compared to the Mandalorian. Mandalorian was most of the episodes have been about an hour. I think this was at 36 minutes.
Yeah, by the time you stopped for credits, it was 36 before the credits.
So that but hey, they've left us wanting more. they've left a little bit of a cliffhanger. I feel like with the Mandalorian, it took the first 2-3 episodes to set the scene. I feel like the scene's been
it was
set.
quite slow.
I think scene's been set here, and also we've immediately had this. Oh, someone's like made an attempt on his life. He's pushing people, like he's pushing the wrong people at the moment. So yeah, excited to kind of, I guess, see where we go. And excited to kind of see what new characters and what old characters get pulled back into it.
Yeah, and I feel like the Tusken Raiders have got something, just because how the episode ends with like he's killed this big creature, and the Tuskens who hated him and kept him hostage are now basically his pals. So
Yeah,
whether he's
respect
gonna
them.
like become friends with the Tuskens who are then gonna help him with keeping Jabba's empire, like I don't know, it's exciting.
Yeah, I think it's left a lot of question marks. A lot of question marks, so a lot of things that need to be answered. But overall excited. I think something that I would like to do for the duration of this series is that we both give it a score. We give it a score. We average out the score, much like we did with the Movember things. We run it on week by week, giving each one a score, and I think we've got to base it on its own merit as a standalone episode. What did we think? So base this one as the start of a series. How did you find it?
As a start of the series, I'm gonna go for an 8 because I felt like there was a beginning, middle, and an end. It did leave us on a little bit of a cliffhanger, but there was the flashbacks. I think it was just a really good setup. Like you say, The Mandalorian, I'm a massive Star Wars fan, but that did take like almost some persevering. Like straight away, we've got a character that we know in this one, Boba Fett. We didn't know Din, like in Mando. We didn't really know where it was going. So it was something that was so different. It was so out there because we knew we weren't really going to have lightsabers or anything like classic Star Wars. And then there was the whole like, is it Baby Yoda? Like no one really knew the timeline of it. The first few episodes, like it was just all a bit odd. Where I just feel like this was a really great setup. So I'm gonna say 8 out of 10.
Okay, solid. I'd probably give it an 8 as well, which makes that's not just for the sake of having some easy maths. I'd give it an 8. I think it was strong. I think extending it out a little bit would have helped score it higher. I think kind of maybe adding some more context around. I'm a little bit upset that we saw we were introduced to some people who I assume are gonna be bigger characters through either themselves or through their kind of number twos, their right hands, when they were paying respect to Boba in Jabba's old palace when he sat on the throne. And I feel like a lot of that was quite kind of throwaway appearances. If they were going to put them in this, maybe they should have extended that a little bit, or they should have held that back and just had it as an appearance later in the series. I assume that the mayor's kind of envoy that was there, that's going to be the big thing. My assumption, if I had to make a prediction, is that this attack on him has been from the mayor, because the mayor's kind of right-hand guy basically said, like, expect to receive another visit. So that would be my assumption and my prediction. I feel like they could have gone one of those other two ways, and it potentially would have improved it, either fleshing it out or saving it for later on down the line when those characters become more prevalent. But no, other than that, solid start. Gives us a lot of places to go, a lot of things to look forward to. And I think it's definitely delivered. It set the tone really nicely as well for kind of that throwback nostalgia, but also we're going to get some action. We're going to get some mystery. We're going to get a little bit of the unknown. Like, really, really solid.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Cool. In that case, I think we'll wrap up. We're going to kind of keep these on shorter. We don't want to dwell on a whole bunch of stuff unless there's some really important things to discuss on each episode. We want to keep you guys wanting more and coming back for more. So thank you for being around and being here and supporting. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for taking the time to sit and watch and sticking around to the end. We'll be back live on Twitch 9 p.m. or 9:15, dependent on real life schedules, next Wednesday after the next episode. So watch the next episode, come hang out with us, come let us know what you thought of it, see if your opinion's any different to us, and kind of let us know. And keep an eye on our socials as we kind of keep updating things with like rumors, kind of thoughts, and just general kind of interactions with you guys. That'd be great. Check the description box down below for links out to our Twitch, our Twitter, our Facebook, absolutely everything. And yeah, other than that, thank you very much. I'll let Brian sign off.
Yeah, no, everything that Matt said and more. We've had a good time tonight, almost as long as the actual episode itself. So
There we
I
go.
think that's pretty good. But no, really excited for what the Book of Boba Fett holds. Excited for the next episodes. And then, of course, it's the big one later on in the year, Kenobi.
Exactly.
So yeah, we will see you all next Wednesday. Like Matt said, keep an eye on our socials. Peace out, A-Town, and may the Force be with you.
Cheers, guys.